Resin-bound surfacing is one of the fastest growing surface solutions in the UK market today, but is it worth your while starting out a resin-bound business? Well, today I'm going to explain 3 reasons why starting a resin-bound business may just be one of the best decisions you could make. According to Fortune Business Insider, the resin-bound market is experiencing steady growth, with multiple sources stating a compounded annual growth rate of between 6 and 8%. This of course sets up any existing resin-bound businesses along with any new businesses coming into the market with an advantage. Naturally, it means there's more work to go round with a product that's in ever-growing demand with characteristics that are simply unmatched. But let's talk a little bit more specifically about the market opportunity. So based on some assumptions here on the percentage of households that have a driveway, along with the number of households in the country, there are roughly 17 million driveways here in the UK. Now, doing a little bit of basic math, if the average 2-car driveway is about 30 square meters and a 1-car driveway is about 18 square meters, conservatively let's call it 22 square meters on the whole, that's 374 million square meters of driveways that could have resin bound installed on it. And that's before we even start to dig in pathways, garden patios or commercial spaces, which are equally growing in popularity. I guess what I'm saying here is that there is no shortage of surfaces for the resin-bound surface to be laid on. It's a matter of having a great product with a great installation process and a business that upholds strong values. If you can do this, you'll have a waiting list of customers ready to have a resin-bound surface installed. When it comes to any business, it's easier to make that business a success if the product in itself has unmatched credentials, especially when those credentials are also environmentally friendly too. It is almost a case where the benefits of the product kind of just sell themselves. But one of the biggest benefits, which our customers also love about the product, is its drainage characteristics, because the surface will actually drain up to 25 litres of water per square metre per second. The water just literally disappears from the surface like you're doing some kind of magic trick. In actual fact, over the last 16 years or so in operation, we have never, and I mean never, had a customer ring us up to tell us that there's a puddle on their driveway. I'm not sure if I can legally say it's impossible, but on over 100,000 square meters of surface which we've installed over the years, we've never had a report of a puddle being present, and I suspect that will continue for the next few years into the future too. It's quite literally the perfect product for customers that have properties that are prone to flooding, or perhaps even the gathering of water each time we see a downpour, which feels like it's more often than not here in the UK. And look, it's not so that you just don't see a puddle on your driveway. In actual fact, the product in itself is actually more important than that, because it helps alleviate the pressure on local drainage systems, which are prone to overflowing at the best of times. And that's because the resin surface allows water through the surface, whereas traditional surfacing methods unfortunately don't. And unfortunately that means they rely heavily on local drains in order to stop local flooding. It's why the UK government planning portal actually requires you to have planning permission on any new surfaces over and above that of 5 square meters where an impermeable surface is installed, and it does not provide for water to run to a permeable area. So not only are you able to offer a product which is genuinely beneficial to customers, but it also helps out local drainage too, which is certainly struggling. Now, there are tons of other benefits, but I'll flash up a screenshot of a direct comparison between resin-bound surfacing and other traditional surfacing methods out there. Now, obviously having a great product with great benefits is one thing, but being able to communicate those benefits to customers through a marketing strategy is absolutely as important, because it will allow you to run a profitable business. And that's why what I'm about to talk about next may just be of interest. One measure of a business's success is whether it makes a profit or not. After all, without profits, you don't have a business. And when starting out in business, money can certainly be tight. It certainly was for us, and that's why we had to grow steadily over time. I remember being on mixer duty when I was about 14 years old during school holidays in order to earn a little bit of extra cash. But ultimately, I guess I was probably a little bit of cheap labour back in the day. I kind of joke, but when you're starting out, you've obviously got to keep your costs low. And therefore, you may have to call in all of the favours that you can get your hands on in order to increase the output of your business to get the cogs on the business machine turning. I also run my own business in a completely different industry, and the exact same principle applies. For Rhino though, we started out in a small little shack at a local garden centre. Nothing more impressive than Shrek's swamp house, which apparently you can actually now visit somewhere in Scotland on Airbnb. I digress slightly, but from here we kind of grew progressively over time, from deploying local marketing strategies and benefiting a huge amount from positive word of mouth, It allowed us to eventually move to larger and larger premises as the business got bigger. Over the years, we've massively reinvested back into the business and invested in our relationships and partnerships with key suppliers in the industry throughout all of the years. This has allowed us to obtain exclusive trade discounts and critical industry knowledge. In actual fact, it's probably one of the things that's allowed us to stay on top of our game since we started out in business in 2008. And build a profitable business along the way. But it hasn't come without its hurdles, challenges, and mistakes too. Overcoming all that though, on a bigger macro level, we believe that resin-bound surfacing will be the surface of choice in the not too distant future. And if you are interested in starting out a resin-bound business, well, we can actually support you on that journey because we recently took the strategic decision to franchise out the Rhino brand. In actual fact, we've just accepted our first franchisee, Alex, who's a successful business owner in his own right based down in London, who's looking to further diversify his own business portfolio. Now, if you want to join the franchise team too, well, I'll leave a link down in the description where you can inquire about franchising and potentially become a part of the Rhino network, where you'll gain all of the access to the Rhino brand, the trade discounts and the business support systems that will allow you to build out a profitable business for your future. But before you go, if you're interested in a little bit more of the details about how to actually install a resin-bound surface, well, be sure to click on that video next, subscribe to the channel on your way out, and with that being said, I'll see you over in the next one.